Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear students around the world. Welcome to your new English YouTube channel and classes. English course level 1A1, lesson 88. In today's lesson, we'll continue our series of past simple form, lesson 4 or part 4. As I said before we start dealing with sentences in the past simple, it's better to have some training about the form of the verb in the past simple. By the end of this mini lesson 88 part 4, you will have focused on known, learned, and practiced the following objective. Verbs, English verbs in the past simple form. Part 4 or lesson 4. Before we start dealing with sentences in the past simple, I see it essentially important to have some practice first of the past simple form. As I said in the three previous lessons, there are two kinds of verbs in past simple in English. Regular verbs which take ed at the end of the verb, for example, play, played, and irregular verbs which change the internal vowel a, e, I, o, or u. For example, hit, hit. So this verb doesn't change in the past simple. Today we're going to focus only in the positive form. I played, you played, he played, she played, it played, we played, you played, they played. So this verb take ed in the past because it's a regular verb. What I am going to repeat for you today is what I said in the three previous lessons. That played with ed, we can use it only in the positive form. We cannot use it in the negative form, and we cannot use it in the question form. I hope you understand this point. I am going to explain it once again. I played, it's correct. I played football. Correct. But negative, let's see some mistakes the students make when they write the negative form. So they say, I didn't played football yesterday. Is it correct? No, it isn't correct. Why? Because ed, we have it just in the positive form. We don't have it in the negative form. So the correct negative form is I didn't play football. Remember this advice. Let's go to the question. Some students write, did you play football yesterday? It's not correct. The correct question is, did you play football yesterday? So remember, ed, we use it just in the positive form. I am not speaking about just the verb play. I am speaking about all regular verbs, all of them. So in the negative, we don't use them, and in the question, we don't use them. So we use them just in the positive form. I hope you understood this point. Let's continue. Sat. Sat is the past of sit. We changed I to a. I sat, you sat, he sat, she sat, it sat, we sat, you sat, they sat. So sat is positive. Let's make it negative. Some students may write, I didn't sat. Is it correct? No, it's not correct. Because in the negative form, we don't have the past form of the verb. We have just the infinitive. So what is the correct negative form? I didn't sit. I didn't sit. Let's go to the question. Some students may write, did you sat? Did you sat? It's not correct. The correct question is, did you sit? Did you sit? So regular verbs or irregular verbs, the past form of the verb, we use it just in the positive form. We don't use it in the negative and we don't use it in the question. I hope you understood this point. Let's continue. Sit, the past sat. So we saw this example. Let's go to the next example. Sit down. We are going to change just sit to sat. Sat down. I sat down. You sat down. He sat down. She sat down. It sat down. We sat down. You sat down. They sat down. The same thing with this verb. So if you write in the negative, I didn't sat down, it's not correct. In the question, if you write, did you sat down, it's not correct. So I'll give you the three forms of the verb. I sat down. I didn't sit down. Did you sit down? Let's go to the next verb. Stand. We are going to change an to double o. But we pronounce them stood. 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 I stood. You stood. He stood. She stood. It stood. We stood. You stood. They stood. Stand up, the same like stand, stood. So the past, stood up. Stood up. I stood up. You stood up. He stood up. She stood up. It stood up. We stood up. You stood up. They stood up. Steal. We are going to change EA to O and E at the end. But remember, when we have O in the past, most of the time we pronounce it O. We have exceptions, but most of the time we pronounce it O. So the past of steal, stole, stole. I stole. You stole. He stole. She stole. It stole. We stole. You stole. They stole. Wear. Wear. So to put on clothes, to wear. So we are going to change EA to O and E at the end. But there is a problem. I said to you in the previous lessons, when we have O, we pronounce it O. But in this verb, we are not going to pronounce it O. English is a crazy language. So just bear with me. So here we don't pronounce it O. We pronounce it, so this the past simple of wear, to put clothes on or to put on clothes. So the past is wore, wore, like the war, okay, guns and tanks and rockets. So like the same word, war, like the word which is written WAR, war. So the same here, wore. I wore. You wore. He wore. She wore. It wore. We wore. You wore. They wore. Swear. So I swear to you. So swear. The same like swear, swore. I swore. I swore to you. I swore. You swore. He swore. She swore. It swore. We swore. You swore. They swore. Swim. We are going to change I to A. But we don't pronounce it A. We pronounce it A. Swam. It's not swam. No, swam. It's light. Swam. Swam. I swam. You swam. He swam. She swam. It swam. We swam. You swam. They swam. Let's continue. Teach. This verb, we are going to change EACH. We are going to keep just T, but we are going to add 5 letters. We are going to add A, U, G, H, T. And it is pronounced taught. taught, I taught. I teach English. Yesterday, I taught English. Taught. I taught, you taught, he taught, she taught, it taught, we taught, you taught, they taught. Learn. Some students pronounce it learn. It's not learn, it's learn. Learn. I learn every day. Yesterday, I learned. So this verb has two forms. You can write it with ed, learned, it's correct, or with t, learned. So both of them correct. Learned. And it's not learned, it's learned. Learned. I learned. You learned. He learned. She learned. It learned. We learned. You learned. They learned. Let's go to the next verb. Think. So we have problem also with this verb. We are going to delete or drop ink, and we are going to add other letters. So we just keep th and we add o, u, g, h, t. And the pronunciation of this verb is very difficult. Why? Because the first two letters we pronounce it th, and the last letter is t. So I teach English, and in the past, yesterday, I thought. I thought. Sorry, it's not teach, it's think. Sorry. So yesterday, every day, I think every day, and yesterday, I thought. Sorry. Let's continue. So thought is the past of think. I thought. You thought. He thought. She thought. It thought. We thought. You thought. They thought. Let's continue. Throw. The past we change O to E, and we pronounce it through. I threw. You threw. He threw. She threw. It threw. We threw. You threw. They threw. Let's continue. Understand. So like stand, understood. I understood. You understood. He understood. She understood. It understood. We understood. You understood. They understood. Let's continue. Win. So the past we are going to change I to O, but there is a problem. The students pronounce it won. It's not pronounced won. We pronounce it like number 1. We pronounce it 1. So remember, the past of win it's not won, it's 1. It's written W-O-N, but it is pronounced like number 1. 1. I won. You won. He won. She won. It won. We won. You won. They won. Let's continue. Lose. So there is a problem with this verb in the past because the present is with z sound. So lose. But the past is lost. So there is s sound. Lost. I lost. You lost. He lost. She lost. It lost. We lost. You lost. They lost. We continue. Complete. So in the past we are going to add D. Completed. I completed. I said when we have T-E-D, we pronounce it tid. I completed. You completed. He completed. She completed. It completed. We completed. You completed. They completed. Stop is the last verb of today's lesson. So with this verb, so we have this verb is a regular verb, but it ends with a consonant P, and we have before it just one vowel. So when we have this case, a verb that ends with a consonant and before it one vowel, we double the last consonant. So we are going to write it with double P. But there is a problem of the pronunciation also. So we are going to study regular verbs, and when we study regular verbs in the future, I am going to give you the rules of how to pronounce ed with regular verbs. So here, when we have p and plus ed, we pronounce it t. So some students say stopped. It's not correct, stopped. So it's stopped. Stopped. The sound is T, not D. Stopped. I stopped. You stopped. He stopped. She stopped. It stopped. We stopped. You stopped. They stopped. And we stop here. That's the end of today's lesson 88. Until then, see you soon in lesson 89 on our two YouTube channels, House School Hassane and House College Hassane. Please support our channel by clicking like if you like the content of the video. Write some comments about the lessons. Do you like them? Okay, what do you want me to include in the lessons? And share the videos with your family and friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, please do help us by your subscription to continue giving lessons on YouTube. Thank you, goodbye, and good luck.